Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Brianna Peppers and today I'm going to be showing you part 3 of my Sims 2 Uberhood. This is going to encompass hopefully all of the Veronaville families inside of my Uberhood. So the first family we're going to be moving into to check out is going to be the Caps, and you can see we have quite an interesting little group right here. So first of all, as you may be aware, this is Consort Cap's manor, and then he has remarried, which is something I've never done with him before, to Dina Caliente, aka now she is Dina Cap. They also finally, after a long time of being married, have had a daughter. So this little girl over here in this boy's arms, her name is Amelia. And then of course Tybalt has moved back home to hopefully become Consort's heir. He wants to inherit the Cap Manor and the fortunes, things like that. Ordinarily, all of that would go to Consort's children, but they're all adults and they all have fortunes of their own at this point. So it's more commonly his wealth is going to be spread through his grandchildren instead. So over here as well, this boy is River Caliente. He is the child that Dina had before she met Consort, and we'll get to who his father is in a minute. So for the family bio, we have Consort surprised his entire family when he announced he was getting married again. No one could believe he was finally ready to move on after all these years. Dina must be very convincing. After her failed seduction of Mortimer landed her with an unplanned pregnancy and no sugar daddy, she found the next best thing, Consort. Tybalt is living with the couple to train as the next Cap patriarch, but his grandfather has given him a seemingly impossible task. He must marry. Will Tybalt's attraction to Dina make that more difficult? So yeah, a couple things to unpack there. River Caliente is Mortimer Goth's child. As you saw in my part 1 of my video, Mortimer Goth is still married to Bella, so he did have a little bit of a dalliance. Instead of the typical Bella's gone, so he marries Dina anyway thing. Instead, he just kind of had a little fling with Dina. She became pregnant, and she thought he would leave Bella to care for her and their child, but instead he was like, I'll give you child support, but I'm going to stay married to my wife. So here we are at the Cap Manor. I haven't changed anything on the outside. I have redecorated quite a bit on the inside, but not too much. Something that you will learn through watching my videos is I am not much of a builder and I don't care to try. So I just redecorate when possible, and we'll get to a good looking enough place eventually. So here we can see Consort Cap is over here. We're going to start with him. He's asleep on the couch. Why don't you wake up for me, friend? So Consort Cap has been married to Dina for quite some time, but you can see he has some wants to interact with Nina Caliente, and that is because he has actually begun an affair with her. This happened pretty early on in his marriage, I believe, to Dina. Yes, he married her, and then Nina seduced Consort. I think Nina and Dina are very close in this game of mine, but I feel as though maybe Nina was a little jealous that Dina got the very rich husband and got to move into the mansion, whereas Nina is still stuck at home with her husband and children that she kind of didn't really want anyway. So that's just a possible motive that she had. Something I never thought that I would have Consort Cap do is remarry or have a child at all. Again, I've never really played with him long enough to try something like that, but it surprised me because he lived a very long time, thank you to my custom lifespan I have. So yeah, over here on this computer that appears to be missing a mesh somehow, I'm not sure what that's about, is Dina. She's currently studying cooking skill. This is a hacked computer. I'm not sure why it's doing that. Oh, well, it's back to normal. So here she is in her underwear, or this is her pajamas actually, so just ignore that. But first of all, Dina has had a little bit of a makeover. She has fixed her hair up in a different way. She's very pretty. I love her. If you're at all familiar with The Sims 2 pre-mates, then you're probably already well aware of Dina's history and everything, but suffice to say that she is, as a fortune sim, it's always been her goal to just marry for money and not have to work. Of course, she has the desire to earn some money, but she does that through things like giving financial advice on the computer. And also, I consider her earning money by being with Consort. So some of her relationships, she is not faithful exactly to Consort. She is having an affair with Rip Grunt, who is quite a bit younger than she is. He's an adult, but still much younger, and she just kind of uses him as her little boy toy. She's still in love with Mortimer, although they haven't really had any romantic interaction since River was born, but they are still in love, and they still have positive interactions because he always comes to River's birthday parties and things like that. She is not in love with, but she does have a crush on Don Lothario. They haven't interacted together in quite some time. I actually couldn't even tell you when the last time was that they got together. She caught Don cheating. That's what happened. And she was really upset by that because she was like, I know I'm married, but how dare you see other people? Down here, playing chess in his underwear, this is Tybalt Cap. I went ahead and deleted his horrible face makeup that they start these Sims in Veronaville off with. It's just not my cup of tea. Oh, look at his face. So he looks a lot like Consort, that's for sure. But I gave him some freckles and some facial hair, and I think he's actually quite handsome. I wonder who my butler just fired. Probably their repairman. Yeah, so Tybalt, when Dina was, she first moved in here, he actually had a little bit of attraction to her, just one bolt. He did try to enact something with her once or twice, and she never really seemed receptive. She just, doesn't see Tybalt like that, and it's not really her, she doesn't want to get involved with her husband's grandchild. So he just kind of is attracted to her, but there's not really anything happening there. And so he's been in love with Marissa Bendette for a little while since he moved back from college, And so the other day, Marissa was just over visiting, and she decided to get down on one knee, and she proposed to Tybalt because I guess she was tired of waiting. I know Marissa's in the medical career, so maybe she's like, well, I'm about to become a full-fledged doctor. I want to go ahead and get married so that we can focus on other things. Maybe that kind of thing. But they have strong chemistry, and I'm excited to see where things go for them. Marissa Bendette actually married Malcolm Landgrab in my old save, which this current save I don't have Blue Water Village in, so it's nice to see her coming back. Alrighty, and here we have River Caliente. He is on his way to school. As you can see, he's in private school because even though he is a Caliente, he's being raised sort of as an honorary Cap. He's lived in the Cap Manor since he was just a toddler, so Consort is kind of really the only father figure that he knows. He doesn't have a very close relationship with him, but he has less of a relationship with his own father, Mortimer, so it's just kind of how things happened for him. And maybe you could say that's partially the reason that River has grown up to become a romance sim, because maybe all of the love and nurturing that he was lacking as he was growing up, he is now going to pursue with other women in the hopes of filling that hole. I know that's very dark, but that's just kind of what I see for him. I don't see him so much as wanting to be a player and just kissing girl after girl after girl after girl. I see it more as like he's a hopeless romantic and he just wants someone to love him and for him to love. So that's going to be his thing. I do believe he is straight, but I will use my ACR adjuster just to be sure, because I do use this to randomize their preferences. Yes, so he's straight, so he only likes girls. He currently has the want to fall in love with Talia Cap, which would be interesting. I'm not sure how I feel about him hooking up with the Cap though, considering he's essentially part of the family. But as of right now, she is his best friend, and we'll get to who she is a little bit later as well. He doesn't really know any of his siblings on his father's side. He's never even met Cassandra. He's met Alexander by chance. I don't believe that was orchestrated, because as far as Mortimer's side of the family goes, River does not exist. That's also why River's last name is Caliente and not Goth. I thought about making his name Cap, but I decided that would just be a little Maybe just not for him, because it would probably just confuse me later anyway, considering he's not actually a Cap. And I like the idea that the Caliente name is going to live on. So right now, River is a private school student with an A+. Alright, and last but not least, we have up here little Amelia Cap, who is very close to aging up to a child. So I was very nervous about what she was going to look like, especially having Consort's genes, but it's not that bad. It could be a lot worse. I think Dina kind of evened her out. Oh, we're going into the ground. So yeah, here is Amelia with all of her nose and cheek and chin glory. She's gonna be an interesting one, that is for sure. I think she's gonna be cute in her own way. It's not conventionally attractive with Consort's genes, but I think a girl might be able to pull it off. So as of right now, Amelia is a Taurus, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe Taurus become future popularity sims in my game. I could see that for her, considering she's very neat. She's outgoing, she's active, she's very playful, she's nice. She's a pretty well-balanced sim. So actually, I just checked my game rules, and it turns out that Taurus actually become romance sims. So that's just too funny to me that she's going to become a romance sim. River's already a romance sim. Dina has only given birth to romance sims, and she's still pretty young. Like, she's got 18 days left until she becomes an elder, so there's always the chance that she may have another child, but I kind of feel like these two are going to be it for her. So yeah, Consort is also a business tycoon. He's level 10 in the business career. He is the head honcho of the Cap Corps, or, you know, business, whatever you want to call it. I don't actually have a business in place. It's just kind of like my headcanon that since all the Caps work in the business career, that they're all working at the same business. You know, it's a family business. Dina is unemployed, of course. Tibble down here is on his way to work. Look how happy he is about going to work. What a cool guy. He is actually a legal biller, so he decided instead of the business career that everybody else in his family's gone into, he went into law. And at first, maybe that was a little bit of a bit of tension between him and his grandfather, because his grandfather, I'm sure, would have wanted him to join the family business, but he's still proud of Tibble because law is just as much of a successful career as business, so he can't wait to see where Tibble goes with that. And they still make plenty of money, so that's not going to be a concern. Alright, and not much else to say about the house either. I have redecorated a little bit. I put down some carpeting as a rug in here. They have a new bookshelf, couch. They have a TV, which they did not have before. When Dina moved in, she kind of put her own little spin on the bedroom in here, so of course the urns had to go, so now the urns that were in this bedroom are now in the graveyard over here, and you can see she's got some of her expensive jewelry nearby, expensive painting, a very pretty expensive bed, very, very Dina-y, but still keeping the integrity of the house. Nothing's different about the kitchen or this living space. I've always had the desire to restructure this house because the layout is not really very good, but I just have never had the energy. Over here, Tybalt is still living in his old childhood bedroom. He shares a bathroom between, this used to be Hermia Cap's bedroom, of course now it's Amelia's, and then over here on the far side, well, with him being, for a while, he was the only child in the house, he got the biggest bedroom. This used to be Juliet Cap's bedroom, but it is now River's. He has his own little bathroom connection as well. I just remodeled or redecorated this one a little bit to match his personality as a teenager. So, of course, he's got some pinup girl art on the wall. He's got a little alien stuff, books on the floor. He has an interest in science. I believe that's why I went with the, or no. I'm not sure why I went with the alien thing, to be honest. Just for style, I guess. And then over here by his bed, another lady in her bikini with some clothes on the floor. I thought it was very teenage-ish, you know, good for him. Alright, and that's pretty much it for the Caps over here. And we're gonna go check out the other families. Alright, so I'm going to kind of take you in the same order that I played a hood in, and I kind of just split down the middle between going from cap to Monty to cap to Monty with some Summer Dreams sprinkled in there. That way I'm not playing only one side of the hood at once and I don't get bored. So right now, after the caps, we're going to go check out the Montys with Patrizio, Isabella, and their grandson Mercutio. So in the bio we have Mercutio is the next Monty heir and he will get the ranch one day. All he really wants is someone to love though. After having his heart broken in high school, college, and a failed engagement in adulthood, Mercutio wonders what it is about him that always makes women choose someone else. Will he ever find someone willing to settle for him? So yeah, pretty sad. So here we are inside the Monty Ranch with this very strangely structured home. It's mostly got the arches that make it not very weatherproof, but I just haven't really felt like fiddling with it too much. One of these days, I will do something about that. So of course over here we have Patrizio Monty, who for whatever reason, for the past several rounds I've been playing him, he's been rolling the wands to have a baby. But A, with his wife that is just not possible, and B, he's so old to expiring from old age that I just simply don't think it makes sense for them to adopt. So he's just gonna have to get over that want. I won't lie to you, I have found the Montys to be so incredibly boring. I haven't really been able to find a good storyline that I thought was interesting for them. I didn't want to make them restaurant owners because I don't really feel like managing family businesses yet in this part of my hood. And so otherwise, they've just kind of been living out their days and kind of doing a whole lot of nothing, which is why I moved Mercutio back in, because I kind of just play him and they are living out their lives in the background. As you can see, Patrizio here is pretty much 1, maybe 2 days away from expiring. He has been doing pretty much nothing. He's been playing a whole lot of chess, so he has pretty high enthusiasm in games, and he's maxed out a few of his skills: cooking, logic, creativity, just from, well, you know, his cooking skill was already maximized because of him being a celebrity chef, but the other skills he did because he was bored and he was working on stuff. So not much else to say about Patrizio. So over here we have Isabella. She's a little less bland than Patrizio. I did not do this on purpose, but she began to roll wands to romantically interact with Oberyn Gossamer. So Oberyn is also known as Oberyn Summer Dream, but me having the clean template, he got his old name back, so he is Oberyn Gossamer. They actually got to having an affair, so I suppose in her free time, whenever Patrizio is not around, she would romantically interact with him, just for gigs, I guess. And she also has a part-time job as a substitute teacher in the education career because she wanted to do that. Alright, over here on this side of the house, oh, he's taking a bath. I'll wait. This is Mercutio Monty. Alright, so for some reason, I really like Mercutio Monty now. I used to really not like him when I was younger or in my past saves. He just always kind of seemed like a bully to me. He seemed like, you know, he was the one at fault for Hermia choosing Puck, and so on and so forth. I'm not sure why I had him so demonized in my head back then, because now playing him I realize he's just a marshmallow and he just wants someone to love him, and it's really freaking sad because nobody will. So, you know, if you're familiar with the Veronaville scripted events, it starts you off with the Summer Dreams at, they're having a party, and Mercutio is there, but so is Hermia and Puck. I forgot all of their names for a second. So he, you know, got pretty upset. He was mad at Hermia for kissing Puck. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. And so he just started fighting with all of the Caps, all the Cap kids, even Juliet. Juliet really hates him, which is funny. And so he just kind of moved on from that. After he went to college, he met Ophelia, then Nigmos, now Smith, who I covered her in my last video. And he had his first kiss with her, and they were actually hitting things off really well. And it wasn't until he started interacting with Miranda Cap here that Ophelia caught them and was like, absolutely not, I'm going back to Johnny, this isn't what I signed up for. So he actually started interacting with Miranda. She had been pursuing him since they were teenagers, but he finally was like, you know what, why not? Things aren't going my way anyway. And so he got together with her while they were in college. And he actually proposed to her after they became adults, or yes, they were both adults at the time, I believe. And so she moved in with him for a very brief amount of time in this Monty ranch. Of course, then Romeo and Juliet got engaged, as we could see a few minutes ago. Where did they go? Right here. Romeo got engaged. Yeah, that was to Juliet Cap. And so they had a wedding actually at the Cap Manor, and Mercutio attended, as well as his fiancée Miranda. Puck Summer Dream was there because he's close friends with the Caps, so on and so forth. One drink led to another, and Puck was caught making some passes at Miranda because they had a romantic relationship together as teenagers, and Mercutio did not like that. He caught Miranda cheating. He said he was finished with her. He beat up Puck, but he lost, and he then broke up with Miranda. He said, "I'm not marrying someone who would be so callous to me to do those kinds of things right in front of the rest of my family at my brother's wedding." So, of course, I'm on Mercutio's side with this, and I'm like, how dare? How dare they? So then he decided to have a little payback, and he went after Puck's little sister Bottom, who is now currently in college. It's a little weird because Mercutio is quite getting on up there in age. I don't really count them as like, oh, one sim day means one sim year, so this sim's 50 years old. I don't really do that. I just kind of wait until, like, okay, he's an adult, but he's like a young adult, or he's like a middle-aged adult. Right now, if I had to guess, I'd say he's probably hovering right there around 30 years old. And it's a little strange because Bottom is probably 22, 23 max. So just a little age gap there. And at first it was just meant to be sort of like, you know what, I'm just gonna fool around with his little sister because this guy has cost me 2 girlfriends throughout my lifetime. But then slowly he started to fall for her, and then now he's in love. And you can see here it says he has 2 loves at once, and I believe that's because he never fell out of love with Miranda, even after what she did to him. No, Ophelia. Yes, he never fell out of love with Ophelia. It's always been on the back of his mind. He was like, what could things have been like if I had stayed with her? But, as you can see, there's no chemistry between them anymore. I swear that there once was, but not anymore. So he's currently in love with Bottom. He still has a pretty good relationship with Miranda, which is funny because he's furious with her for a very long time, but I suppose he moved on. I was playing him not too long ago, and he actually had a want to invite Miranda over, but she's the one who said no, probably because she has no desire now that she has a daughter with Mercutio's little cousin, Benedict, this guy. And now Benedict and Miranda are even engaged. And Mercutio knows about that. He's really hurt by it. But he's like, you know what? It is what it is. I had my chance with her. Things didn't work out. Hopefully things work out for Benny because I don't want him to feel the way I felt. Alright, so he's also been woohooing with Bottom, but they've been pretty consistent. It's just been the 2 of them for a while. Mercutio also has a job in the show business career. He is a commercial actor, level 4 in that career. So he's just kind of doing commercials, just kind of chilling. In his free time, he spends his time in his room working on his music hobby. So he uses the, I believe this is called the synthesizer. Is that what it's called? To make music. And then, of course, he plays guitar. He's still living in his childhood room. I mean, they have so much money, there's no real need for him to move out and get his own place. So it's just the idea as the elder grandchild, Mercutio is going to inherit this house after Isabella and Patrizio pass. Alrighty, so that is it for the Monty. So we're going to move back out into Veronaville. Moving back over to the other side of the town, we have the Summer Dreams, which is who we're going to check in on next. So you can see here that the Summer Dreams have a little bit of a brood, but we're going to get to who these kids are in just a moment. So our bio says Oberon and Titania's marriage is not like a conventional sim marriage. They are both free to indulge in romantic encounters with other sims, although the cardinal rule is to never breed with regular sims. When Titania got pregnant with Bruno by Antonio Monti, Oberon was enraged and nearly ended the marriage. After a lot of time and discussion, they decided to make it work and are now expecting a biological baby of their own, even after adopting another child. So here we have Titania And we have Oberon. This is Bruno down here. He is the illegitimate child between Titania and Antonio Monty. And then they also adopted a little girl named Brooke. And then, of course, they just had their very first biological child, which is this baby here, a little boy named Killian. So let's go in here and see what's going on with them. So here we are at the Summer Dream house. Over the years, they have accumulated quite a bit of wealth, so I've used a little bit of that money, not much of it though, to put back into the house. They used to have the arches all throughout here, but I replaced those with doors, and I also deleted the staircases leading up to the second floor on the outside because I was tired of the Sims in the wintertime using the outdoor staircase to get to the kitchen and stuff when they have a perfectly good interior staircase right there. So that's just what they're doing. I've begun slowly but surely redecorating the top floor, and I'll just like work my way down. So next time you come back to this family, it might not look the same as it does right now. So let's start over here. We have Oberon. So I've let him keep his face makeup because I just thought with the Summer Dreams it kind of suited them. So I'm not saying that the Summer Dreams are fairies, but in my head they're as close to fairies as you can get without becoming a supernatural entity. So it's almost like a magical spell that they have on them that just makes them romantically enticing to all the Sims in SimCity. So there are quite a few little dalliances that they each have, but again, recall that there is no jealousy between Oberon and Titania. They can romantically pursue anyone that they should choose. The only rule is that they cannot have babies with them. So when Bruno was born, it put quite a damper on their marriage for a very long time. So we can see here Oberon is romantically involved with Regan Cap, Isabella Monty, Hermia Dreamer, which this is kind of an old thing. Hermia is now married to Dirk and they haven't interacted in a long time. But weirdly enough, Hermia, when she was still with Puck, she and Oberon became a thing. Oh, it was really weird. But Puck seems to not care because Puck has the same magic that his family does in the fact that he doesn't really get jealous often. And I'm sure, though, his wife Lilith would not like it if he were to start pursuing romantic options elsewhere, so he keeps that on the low from her. So yeah, Oberon has been promoted to level 10 of the Slacker career. He is a professional party guest. They start off with not a whole lot of money, even though they live in this giant house, but a chance card actually saved them. They got 50,000 simoleons or 75,000, something like that, because the Slacker career has a very rewarding chance card once you get higher up. Over here in her underwear, we have Titania Gossamer. So, of course, her maiden name is Summer Dream. That's why I call the family the Summer Dreams. But she married Oberon and took his last name. So this is her. I am actually going to have her put some clothes on because I don't want to get demonetized or anything in the future. Okay, so here is Titania fully clothed. This is a custom hair that I have for her, and I just love it so much. As soon as I saw it, I said, oh, I know who I'm going to give that to. It's Titania. She also still has her face makeup, although I'm thinking about replacing it with some other very colorful things I've downloaded. So again, she might not look the same when we come back. She is wearing this very cute pink dress, high to low, with some pink sandals. She likes to look cute, but she also is very lazy, so she's low maintenance, which I like a lot for her. Titania is level 7, a home video editor in the Slacker career. She has spent a lot of time not working between her 2 pregnancies that she's had and her adopting Brooke. She's taken a lot of time off of work. She still has 6 vacation days that she hasn't used. But that's pretty good. They don't really need the money. So here we have Brooke Gossamer. This child was adopted as a child by Oberon and Titania. She just was generated randomly whenever I adopted a child. We didn't raise her from a baby or anything, so they've only had her for a few days. She's going to become a teenager in 3 days, so I think that means we've had her for at least 2, maybe 3 days. I forget, how long is my child lifespan? I'm not sure. I think it's 7 days. So yeah, this is her room. This used to be Bottom's Summer Dreams room, but I remodeled it just a little bit to make it a little more cutesy, a little more girly. This violin actually was Bottom's, but it turns out that Brooke also has an affinity for music and dance, so we're just having her learn the violin as well. We have some cute wall decorations, Very, very adorable stuff. I like it. It's small, but it's cute for a little girl. Over here we have Bruno Monty, so he is the oldest child in the house right now. He is only 2 days away from becoming a teenager, so I'm excited for that. I'm only just now realizing that he has the same hairstyle as River Caliente, so I'll probably change that when he ages up. But his father is Antonio Monty, which I haven't been known to give me very cute kids, but I really like Bruno. He's very cute. This is his little outfit right here. He's got like a little paw print thingy on the back. I tried to take the summer dreams and make them like the more eccentric bunch, because if I don't, I'll have just a bunch of plain cookie cutter Sims in my hood. Bruno is a Pisces, which means he's going to be a future family Sim, which I'm excited about. He's pretty neat, he's rather shy, he's very active, he's rather serious, and he's very, very, very nice. I'll pop over here and just show you his bedroom real quick. So his favorite color is green, but it also doesn't, it helps that this bedroom is already pretty green when Puck lived in it. I just gave him like a different bedding. He's got the little prince desk that's in the green. And we'll change this up a little bit when he becomes a teenager. This Womrat that's over here actually belongs to Bruno. It was one of his birthday presents when he became a child. This is Diablo. Diablo is the name of the Womrat. Okay, and then over here in this positively ginormous room, we have Killian. I decided for the longest time I wanted Titania and Oberon to have separate bedrooms, but then when Killian was born and I didn't have an extra bedroom to put him in, I decided to just turn this into one big nursery, and then who knows, Titania is still quite young, and she has the wants to have 10 children. She may always wind up pregnant again or happen to adopt another child or something like that, so they could share this room. So over here is Killian. So he's just hanging out down here. He looks exactly like Titania. He has the same skin, he has the green eyes and the red hair. I'll be interested to see what his facial structure looks like when he gets a little bit older. Over here in his bedroom we have a fridge and smart milk and things like that. Anything he could need, that way they don't have to take him downstairs every single time he needs a bottle or something. And over here, the room that I'm probably the most proud of at this moment in time is Titania and Oberon's redecorated bedroom. So I went ahead and changed the layout a little bit. I moved the bed, a computer desk, things like that. So in this corner over here, we have some plants with an ottoman and some nice wall decor. Then they have a bookshelf, which used to be floating shelves that they had on the wall, but I didn't like that the bookshelf wasn't free time compatible, so I got rid of it. Then you turn this way. I love this bed. I kind of went for a bohemian chic vibe a little bit, kind of earthy but not overkill. Over here on the wall we just have some random things. This is a desk, books upon books upon books, as well as some wind chimes, more plants, and just some artwork on the wall over there. I also quite like this purple color for their room. So that is pretty much it for the summer dreams at this moment in time. As you know, in my last video, you probably saw Puck and Lilith live in Pleasant View now with their children. Bottom's summer dream is still in college, so we're gonna get to her eventually. This is just who's growing up in the house right now. So we'll check on the other summer dreams when we come around to play them again. So the next family we're going to be playing with is the Caps. Over here we have another bunch of Caps. This is going to be with Reagan and Cornwall, and Reagan's brother Kent, and Reagan and Cornwall's daughter Mason. So I also have a new bio for this family. When Kent came out to his family, Reagan was the only one who didn't see him differently. Reagan and Cornwall allowed Kent to stay with them so he could get back on his feet. Now a successful doctor, Kent has the means to get his own place, but secretly he does not want to leave. He enjoys spending the time with his sister and niece. What lengths will Cornwall go to get his brother-in-law out of their house? Okay, so I have the Caps over here right across the street from the Cap Manor. So I thought this little house that has like a built-on extension to be the perfect place to put this family. So I have them in here. Up here on the top floor, you can see again, these are not immediately connected. You do have to walk across the landing to get to them. So Kent has his privacy, and the little family over here has their privacy as well. We're going to take a look at Cornwall and Reagan first. So they are just waking up for the day. Alright, Cornwall Cap, I have decided not to get rid of his iconic pointy mustache. It looks really weird, but I think it's just perfect for him, so he's gonna get to keep it. Cornwall is currently a president in the business career, so he's just moving on up the ladder of the Cap family business. He is pretty happy doing just about nothing except working. Every now and again, he likes to get romantic with his wife. They have a pretty solid relationship. Of course, little does he know that she's romantically involved with Oberon whenever he's not home. But so far, their marriage still has a pretty strong foundation. You could blame Reagan's infatuation with Oberon on just the fact that Oberon is just sexually irresistible to all of the women in SimCity. So she has fallen to his charms. Speaking of Reagan, let's check her out over here. So we can see she does not have her glasses on at this moment in time, but I think that she's actually quite pretty, especially for a Cap. She does have like the very angular facial structure, but I like that for her. I love her like serious demeanor, but I think she's a big sweetie, you know, deep down. She is a Virgo. She's very neat, but she's moderately grouchy. But you know, that doesn't stop her from loving her family, loving her children. Over here on the far side, we have Kent. Of course, he's showering. So Kent has changed a lot from what you may be familiar with. For the first thing, he has hair. I accidentally default replaced the bald head in my game with some like funky hair, and I decided if he has to have hair, he'll just have hair. So yeah, and he also has grown a mustache, and he has a little bit of a pooch, but he's living his best life. Kent is currently a general practitioner. He's level 6 in the medical career. So that's just what he spent a lot of his time doing. But he also has just recently fallen in love with the man named Alejandro, who I believe is a bartender that he met on a community lot. I hate it for Kent because they only have one bold, but I'm hoping that one day he'll be able to find someone, if not Alejandro, but find someone who he has a really strong connection with. Unfortunately, I just cannot seem to find any compatible gay sims for Kent. Over here on his little side of the house, you can see, I'll turn on the lights, you can see that he has a little game room here with his computer, a couch, a dartboard, there's his bathroom, this is his very plain bedroom. Downstairs is a little nicer. He has the only television in the house, so oftentimes Cornwall, Reagan, Mason will come over to watch TV with him. You can see his favorite color is blue. He has a very high interest in cuisine. That's what his hobby is, so he often cooks for the family, and then he'll take the food over to give it to them. It's really sweet. Over here we have Mason, who is about to become a teenager, so I'm stoked for that. Can't wait to see what she looks like as she gets a little bit older. So Mason Cap is, so far, surprisingly, the only child between Cornwall and Reagan. I'd be interested to see if they ever have another child. So this is Mason in all of her glory. So Mason is a Virgo, just like her mother. I believe I have it. Yeah, Mason does not need glasses. I do this thing, if there's one parent that wears glasses, I flip a coin. So if it's like heads, then the child needs to wear glasses like their parent, or if it's tails, then they don't. Now, is that how it works in real life? No, but I don't care. It's more fun this way, because I usually will forget to ever put glasses on my Sims, considering I don't wear glasses. So it's just something fun I like to do. Being a Virgo, I'm not quite sure what her future aspiration is. I'll have to check. She's going to be a knowledge sim, so I like that for her, especially considering her hobby is in science, so she often spends her time looking through the telescope at night. She's very shy, she's active, she's extremely serious, and she's sort of on the grouchier side. Seems a lot like between her parents. Yeah, she's basically just a miniature version of them, but that's usually how it goes, right? So yeah, Some of Mason's friendships have grown really strong, which I like that a lot for her. She is really close friends with River Caliente, so I assume that whenever she ages up, assuming that she'll be straight, who knows, maybe she won't be, but she and River may become an item considering they're very close in age. She's also best friends with Orion Curious, her cousin Talia, and Astrid Curious, who we haven't covered Astrid yet, but we will get to them soon. Alrighty. Not much else to say about this family, so we're gonna go ahead and move on to the next one. Over here on this side of the hood, we're going back to the Montys. So this time we're gonna go check in with Bianca Monty and her husband and children. So in our bio, it says Bianca has everything she ever wanted, a loving husband and beautiful children. With such affectionate parents, what kind of people will Bianca's kids grow up to be? That's right, because this is Bianca Monty. This is her husband, Juan, who was just a townie, no one really special in particular, but they had pretty good chemistry, and she wanted to marry him, so that's what they did. And they immediately had 2 children. We have this little boy, Damon, and then we have their little girl, Mila. So let's go take a look at everybody. This is the house, by the way. It's a very strange house. But that's just like all of the Monty builds. I did replace the arches leading outside with doors, and I have put down a little carport, but otherwise I've not changed anything fundamental. Over here in the adult's bedroom, this is Bianca's room that Juan hasn't really put his own personal spin on. Very flowery, very floral. I actually just finished playing this household. So yeah, oh, look how cute they are. So this is Bianca, her husband Juan. He had to get facial hair because his face was just kind of crazy, but you know, that's okay. Over here we have their first son, Damon. So, oh, look at, he has a thing for like zoo animals. It's really cute. So he's gonna come over here. So yeah, this is Damon Monty. He's probably the first pale Monty that I've seen. He's a Cancer, which means he's going to be a family sim, exactly like his parents. Isn't that so cute? And then he is very neat, he's shy, he's moderately active, serious, and nice. He's pretty well balanced. He does not need to wear glasses. He's in his pajamas, but as you can see from his little picture down here, he normally wears a beanie, no matter what the weather is. And over here we have their toddler daughter, Mila. Mila, let me come over here so I can look at you. So I feel like Mila's gonna be quite a little cutie as she gets older, which I say that about all of my Sims because they're all cuties, but I just can't help it. So just look at that little face. Adorable, absolutely adorable. So yeah, Mila is the youngest, and hopefully not one of the last, but who knows. And look at that, she's also a Cancer. And I know it's not firstborn syndrome because their appearances are different and the personalities are different by 1 playful point. Isn't that crazy? So the entire family consists of nothing but Cancers. I know it's just because of how the personalities wound up, but I just love it. And I have not rolled whether Mila is going to wear glasses or not. I'll do that when she becomes a child. So yeah, gonna be very cute to have a little family sim family all the way around. Going back to the cap side of town, we're gonna go look at these caps. This is Goneril, her husband Albany, and their 2 kids, well, their last 2 kids that live at home anyway, Talia and Carter. Okay, so here we are at the cap house, or I should say the 3rd cap house. This is arguably the biggest and most expensive lot that was available on the cap side of the town, which is ironic considering they have the least amount of money. I think we can also blame that in part to the fact that they had so many children that a lot of their finances had to go towards raising them, and so not as much was able to be spent on their living arrangements. This house, I pretend that it was gifted to the family from Goneril's father. So let's take a look. The house is slowly emptying out. It doesn't normally look like this whenever you first boot in. This isn't usually a bedroom. I don't think this is either, but it was a lot of dead space that I turned into a bedroom, so that way it fit their whole family. And then Goneril and Albany have finished raising their kids that were here at the start. So Miranda, as you saw in my last video, is an adult. Hal is at college, Desdemona is at college, and Ariel just moves to college in the last round. So they just have their final 2 kids that they had once I started playing, Talia and Carter. So let's start with looking at Albany. So he's pretty close to becoming an elder in only 8 days. He and Goneril have a pretty strong marriage, despite the fact that, you know, based off of their chemistry, maybe neither of them were really each other's first choice, but that's okay. They did the best with what they had. So he has a whole brood, and only one of them actually has brown hair like Goneril. That's funny. So Albany is the senior manager, level 6 in the business career. So I don't believe he actually starts with the job, but I had him get a job because as much as he wanted Goneril to start having babies again, they needed income, and so she could not work. So he decided to get a job for her so that she could stay home. Over here we have Goneril. I want her to change into her everyday wear so you can see it. She is fierce. Perfect. I love it. So, Goneril is not one to play around with. That is for sure. So, she is level 8. She's a president in the business career. So she's getting pretty on up there. It's her dream to become the CEO. So or business tycoon. She wants to take over her father's position in the family business. And over here we have Talia, who I think... Okay, so this is Talia Cap. I feel like she is just so pretty. I do not think I could have gotten any luckier with the Cap genetics than I did this time around. I just adore her. She is a fortune sim, so she's going to grow up and probably be quite a lot like Goneril in the fact that she just wants to work hard, make some money, and have some status in the world. She doesn't currently have a job. She is in private school, but she will probably get a job because she currently has the want to win the Young Entrepreneurs Award. Talia is a Scorpio. She's very neat and outgoing, very active. She is pretty serious, and she is a huge grouch. So that's going to be interesting to see how she starts interacting with her other peers her age and things like that. Over here we have Carter Cap, who is still asleep. So Carter is the youngest, and he is only the second boy other than Hal. So this is quite a big group of girls. Carter's little personality, he is a Cancer, so he's going to be a future family sim just like his dad. He's extremely neat, very outgoing, pretty active, very serious, and very, very nice. So he is just going to be so much fun to play with, I am sure of it. I think he's going to be a super little cutie too. He's probably going to look a lot like Albany, but nothing wrong with that. So they have the 2 kids in these 2 small bedrooms side by side. Finally, the kids no longer have to share bedrooms because for a while with this small bedroom here, it was the nursery / youngest child's room. So for the longest time, like Desdemona had to share this room with Talia, and then Talia had to share it with Carter until the other kids moved out. This empty room over here used to be Hal's room, and then it became Ariel's room, and then now Ariel's gone. So it's empty until if they decide to have more kids, which Goneril only has 13 days left before she becomes an elder, so who knows how much longer that's gonna last. Oh, so cute. Talia is best friends with her cousin Mason and River Caliente. She's also pretty close with Noah, who I think Noah's at least a little bit younger because I don't think he's gonna turn into a teenager in this round. Down here on the ground floor, I just replaced the flooring and kind of made everything look as expensive as I possibly could with as minimal as I possibly could. So we have this nice little sitting area with the TV, stereo. I like to do a little setup for the phone here. They also have a butler, so he comes and cleans up for them and everything. I quite like the kitchen. I like the color schemes. I think it's very warm, very homey. And then out back, of course, we have this gigantic maze and flower beds and things. I do have the perfect plants mod, so I rarely ever have to worry about that. And we can see Albany and Goneril are on their way off to work to make some more money for their kids. So that's pretty much it for this side, for this version of the caps. So we're going to move on to the next ones. And we're going back to the Monties again. This time we're going to go check out Antonio and his new wife, Erin. So here we are at this Monty house. This is quite an interesting one architecturally wise, but at least most of it's indoors. So up here on the top floor, we have this little romp room. We have a hot tub, we've got a bar, a stereo set. Let's go ahead and turn on all the lights so we can see everything. Very cool. They spend a lot of parties and stuff up there. Then down here, right into the main room of the house, is the dining room. They have a nice little setup for wine, or I should say juice. This is the kitchen. It's pretty minimalistic over here. This is Benedict's old bedroom when he was a kid, and his shared bathroom, and then this is Beatrice's old bedroom. Benedict and Beatrice have finished college, and so they are off living on their own now. Over here, this is the biggest bedroom, and you can see Antonio is sound asleep with his wife, Erin. So for the longest time, Antonio was just kind of drifting. He had a romantic affair with Titania, and that's how he wound up with his other son, Bruno. But otherwise, Titania was still married. She had no interest in marrying Antonio, so he just kind of wasn't sure where he was going to go from there. He's been working really hard as an executive chef in the culinary career. You also can tell he's been sampling his food quite a bit. He's a pretty good looking sim, actually. I don't know why I was hating on him earlier. And then down here, this is his wife, Erin. I don't remember if I wrote down what her maiden name was. I did not. But she's just a townie. You can see she is quite a bit younger, maybe about 20 days younger, than Antonio. They met through work, though. She's also in the culinary career. She's currently a celebrity chef. Here's the thing, I don't think she's actually a celebrity chef. You know how the game will just automatically just pick a level for them. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm pretty sure she's running to the bathroom right now to throw up. So she's actually just going to quit her job, and she's gonna become either a stay-at-home mom, or after she has the baby, she's just gonna do something else that she would prefer to do. And then that way it's not like she's just at the top of her career through no hard work of her own. I do think she is very pretty, especially for a townie. Oh, there she goes. She's very ill, so you can see her number one want is to have a baby at this moment in time. So she probably is pregnant now. And hopefully they don't have twins. It's a little odd for Antonio to be having kids again, considering he already has 2 fully grown adult children. He has Bruno, who's close to being a teenager, and now he's going to have yet more kids to raise. But I don't think Antonio actually minds. Check out the llamas on his pajamas. I love it. Oh, also I forgot to talk about the living room. It's just pretty basic, little side table, couches. Tried to go with this Art Nouveau style that they have here. Yeah, not too much else to say about this family. I'm pretty excited to come back and see what things look like with Erin's pregnancy. Alrighty, so we're gonna go ahead and boot out to the next family. Last but not least, we are going to be going to check out Romeo and Juliet. I've talked about them a little bit already, but now we're going to really get to see them. So over here, I have them in the small Cap estate. It's right here off the road with the Cap Manor. Juliet really wanted to stay close to her family, and there was no room for compromise, so she and Romeo have moved in over here. However, she did take Romeo's last name, so she's now Juliet Monty. I'm sure that has her family in an uproar, but that was the compromise for her in her mind. So in our bio, it says Romeo and Juliet have tied the knot despite protests from both their families. With a little one on the way, Romeo will have to decide what is most important to him, his insatiable libido or his desire to have a stable family. So we can see here, of course, the baby's already born, so we're going to go check him out. If you're thinking that the Cap Manor here looks a lot like the big Cap Manor that Consort's in, you would be pretty much accurate. This is actually a redone version of the Cap Manor that I downloaded, so someone else had the good sense to build a better layout of one, and it also has a much smaller lot, so less chance for them to be late for the school bus and things like that. Originally I intended this house to be like Tybalt's house or something, but I think that Juliet really wants to live here, so that is what they're doing. So over here, we are just gonna check out Juliet first. So she is super cute. She's got a little sweater on. It's summertime though, so it might be about time to change that. So Juliet, her being a family sim, all she ever really wanted to do since she was a teenager was just marry Romeo and have his babies. Little does she know, of course, that Romeo has been getting it on with other people throughout the course of their relationship. She is completely oblivious. She has no clue. It's been hinted at towards her in the past, but nobody has the heart to tell her that, hey, he is not only interested in you. But, of course, now they're married, so it's a little bit too little too late anyway. Juliet is currently a button masher in the gamer career, which is probably not something I ever would have picked for her, but she went to college and her major specialized with had a specialization in the gamer career, so and then she had the want when she became an adult. So I was like, you know what, I don't have any gamers in my town right now, so why not? I also don't suspect she'll be spending a lot of time at work because I'm sure she's just gonna constantly want to have children. Over here we've got Romeo. He's cleaning up the house in his drawers. So Romeo has grown up quite a bit. He's quite a dashing young man. He is in the artist career as a souvenir whittler because also his favorite hobby is arts and crafts, and that's just, he followed his passion. So Romeo is involved with quite a few different sims, if I'm not mistaken. Well, by quite a few, I mean a few. So of course there is Miranda Cap. He and Miranda have probably been seeing each other since they were teens, and it just kind of never stopped. Even when she was engaged to his brother, he didn't really care. He has a crush on Ophelia that was never really pursued. If you remember watching my last video, you would see that Ophelia also still has a crush on Romeo, but nothing ever really went there for them. So it's just kind of like just a crush. That's just exactly what it is. He's best friends with his brother, with Dirk Dreamer, and then there's this chick, Carrie Pratt. She's just a townie that he seduced on his last trip into downtown. So yeah, that's just kind of what he likes doing. And then over here we have their baby, whose name is Charlotte, which I like a lot. This is Charlotte's little room up here on the second floor. It's got everything a toddler could want. It's very pink. I love the color pink, so I tend to kind of go pink overboard with my baby girls. And so this is what's interesting to me. Charlotte is blonde, and she's got gray eyes, so I have to assume that those have come from an ancestor somewhere. I'm not sure. Maybe Cordelia. I know Cordelia was blonde, so probably it's just a recessive gene through Juliet's mother. Also, it appears Olivia Monty could have been blonde as well, so that's a possibility. I think Juliet's eyes are green, if I'm not mistaken. I'm trying to see. Oh no, so she has Juliet's eyes as well. So yeah, just a little blondie, super cute. This is the house, by the way. So you have up here, this was originally designed to be Tybalt's room, this was designed to be Hermia's, and this is designed to be Juliet's. Of course, I'm not utilizing it for that function, so I'm just going to slowly remodel the rooms as time goes, especially if they decide to have more children, then these rooms up here will become the children's rooms. We have a nice little break area over here for them. We have some easels for Romeo to paint on, some chess, a workout station, and this nice little spiral staircase leads down onto the main floor where we have their shared bedroom, bathroom nearby, and the living room. They don't have a television, which I'd like to change, modernize it a little bit, and then the kitchen, which is very much pretty similar to the Cap Manor. The layout is just designed a whole lot better so that there's less routing issues. So yeah, so that is going to be it for my family. Oh yeah, also back here we have Juliet's garden and stuff. Super cute. So yeah, that's going to be it for this family, and then that in turn is going to be the end for the Veronaville. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching up to this point. I hope you've enjoyed watching and seeing my little pixel families. I really have enjoyed making this Uberhood, and I like seeing where things are going, so I hope you do too. Next time, we're going to be going to Strangetown to check out all of the Sims that are living over there. And there aren't a lot of families in Strangetown, so I'm hoping that I'll be able to include Strangetown and Downtown in one go. But I talk a lot, so we'll never know. Alright, so I'll see you in the next video. Again, thank you for watching. Have a good one. Bye!